Glassmaking, due to its fluid nature and the fact that you start with a puddle of molten glass, makes it one of the most challenging materials for me to work with. It requires very quick movements, quick adjustments. You need to be able to anticipate what the glass will be doing and where people are moving around you. There's much to consider at one time, and that poses a great challenge. It also makes it exciting, and it gives me something to really sink my teeth into, if you will. I appreciate the challenge of it. I also appreciate the process by which you start with something that is molten and you cool it to room temperature, and using gravity and timing and heat in which to tool the piece. And it's demanding, but also very gratifying. In it, there's a certain element of glassmaking that still seems like magic to me, that you can start with something like that, and something that is a molten puddle of glass, and gather it on the end of a rod and blow a bubble into it and have it blow up round and evenly. And meanwhile, you need to be making adjustments constantly, reacting in a way that you couldn't even really describe to somebody. By the time you described it, the dynamic has changed and you need to be doing something else. So it's that focus that is required that makes it kind of exciting, because it's so immediate. It requires you to concentrate so entirely on what you're doing at that moment that you can kind of let go of some of the other extraneous stuff that may be bothering you or whatnot. I like that element of glassmaking. I also like the process of starting with something that is molten. You cool it to room temperature, you make some parts, you then reassemble them, roll them up on the end of a pipe and make something else out of them tomorrow. I like those stages of process. I started from the craftsman point of view and trying to make things that are finely crafted and well made, and eventually I will find a way in which to make them decorative. That was my original goal. I got my start at Penland School of Crafts in Western North Carolina. It's a place that in which you can work in glass, work in iron, work in wood. It's a craft school. It's not a fine art school, it's a craft school, but one that has a very rich tradition of using folk tradition, folk crafts. It was a place that my father had gone to make glass and take a workshop in 1971, the year before I was born. And it was my first introduction to working with glass. I had grown up around glass, as my father had a small shop, and he made glass when I was a boy. He stopped making glass when I was about 4 years old. So I didn't see a lot of it in the later years of my life. But when I had seen it again when I was about 18, a lot came back to me. A lot of it's such a dynamic material, and there's a lot to see and watch, and the sounds, and it all came back to me. Well, glass has been around for thousands of years, and it's a precious material, and has been seen by many different cultures as a very precious material, and for good reason, in the sense that it has a gem-like quality, and can be made into a variety of colors and varying degrees of opalescence or transparency. And it can be ground and faceted and polished. It can be left rough. It really can take any shape. It can be blown, it can be cast, it can be, if you can conceive of it, there's a way to make it in glass. I enjoy that problem-solving aspect of glass making. I also appreciate the light quality. It's unlike anything else in the sense that it transmits and generates light in a different way than any other material. It's always challenging to working in a material that has been tooled for thousands of years. And I continue to struggle with that. I think part of my personality does come through in my glass as I'm looking for simple, clean forms that are not too busy visually. I have found some of the most simple and elegant shapes are the most challenging to make, and I aspire to that, the notion that less is more. So after 24 hours of cooling, you can appreciate how the colors have changed in this piece. It looks a little bit different than it did when we were making it hot. What looked to be brown has gone red. I very much like to be hands-on in what I'm doing now, and hope I can continue to be hands-on in the process. I don't want to grow my business in such a way that I'm a manager. I really still want to maintain that relationship with glass because I know that there are parts of me and my creativity that I have not tapped into. And if I change that course too drastically, I may lose that opportunity to find that voice.